Thank you, everyone. All right, I'm going to call to order the St. John Plan Commission for April 5th. If we could all stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wow, that was quick. All right, roll call, Jenna, please.
Robert Burleson.
Here.
Yolanda Cardona is absent. John Gill.
Here.
Joe Gomez-Daigle.
Here.
Bob Valois.
Here.
Jenna Lordson here. John Kennedy.
Here.
Attorney Adam Decker.
Here.
Engineer John Dykstra.
Here.
Councilman Liaison Brian Blazak is not here. And Town Manager Joe Wizwati.
Present. We have a quorum. We can have our meeting. Next on the agenda, we have minutes. We will take them individually. First on our agenda is the March 1st, 2023 Plan Commission regular minute meetings. Is there any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the March 1st, 2023 Plan Commission regular meeting minutes.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
I got a second by Joe. Comments, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next, we have the March 9th, 2023 Plan Commission special meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve March 9th, 2023 special meeting minutes.
I have a motion to approve March 9th. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by John. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. Next on the agenda, we have the March 5th, 2023 Plan Commission study session minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve March 15th, 2023 study session meeting minutes.
I have a motion to approve the March 15th Plan Commission. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Oh, you can give it to Bob.
Give Bob in there. We got the second by Bob and Bob. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have two public hearings. Jenna, both public hearings are good? Everything in
Yes.
order to proceed forward?
Yep.
First public hearing is a Continental Unit 2, lots 27 through 36. This is a preliminary replat hearing, and they are requesting a final plat for lots 27 to 36 of Continental Unit 2. It's part of the original 55 acres of the Continental. In front of us, we have Mr. Slager. Mr. Slager, how are you, sir?
Good evening. Jack Slager with Schilling Development, representing the developers of the Continental. You have two items on your agenda tonight that are related and both represented by the same drawing. And we also sent out the public notices and the advertisements in the newspaper covering both subjects in the same advertisement. So, but we'll take them one at a time, and I'm assuming you want to vote on them one at a time. The first one, Continental Unit 2, lots 27 through 36. We are going to replat a section of lots that was previously platted about 2 years ago. We've had some demand for larger lots. You already see in the middle of that street, there's what's called a Unit 2 second re-subdivision, which was a homeowner that bought two lots and came to you and had them combined as a one-lot subdivision. We now have another one that's doing a lot and a half, so rather than have them keep coming in to you one at a time and do one-lot subdivisions, we decided to replat the entire street, or at least the north side of the entire street. So we are taking what was formerly 8 lots and turning it into 5 lots. Previously 8 lots, now 5 lots. Does not change the engineering. We talked a little about having something that says that we're going to remove any extra water or sewer taps as these homes get built, so that there isn't something just hanging out there that could get damaged in the future. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. We talked about it at the study session. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from the board before I open it up to public hearing? Mr. Slager, just one question. You commented it briefly on it, but the recommendation, if this board proceeds forward, is that when a building permit is requested for a lot, only one B box and service line shall remain.
Correct. That's fine, and I'm
So
good with that.
The petitioner is fine with that
Yeah.
stipulation.
Yeah,
I didn't know
and-
if you saw that. I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure it was clear.
No,
Okay.
I'm good with that. And the other thing that you had kind of touched on is that because it's what we consider a minor request or the replat of the 8 lots into 5, we would also request that you would consider granting final plat at the same time.
Understand. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Slager? If not, I will open up the public hearing. The public hearing now for Continental Unit 2, lots 27 to 26, 36, preliminary replat and request for final plat of lots 27 to 36 is now open. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak? Again, number 2, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak? Jenna, have we received any electronic correspondence?
No, we have not.
Again, final time before I close public hearing.
Is this in regard only to the Continental?
This is only regarding to the Continental Unit 2. Public hearing is now going to be closed. Public hearing is now closed. Mr. Slager. All right, board, if there is no questions, I'll entertain a motion to, our choices are approve, deny, defer, preliminary. We will take both options in 2 separate motions, either to approve, deny, or defer the preliminary replat. And before we do that, I apologize, I will read the letter that we received from our town engineer, Robinson Engineering, regarding the preliminary, primary replat review. It says, "Dear Plan Commission, as requested, Robinson Engineering has reviewed the preliminary plat for the above referenced project and have the following comments. Items received. Continental Primary Plat PUD by DVG Team dated 2/20/2023. We offer the following comments. Unit 2 was part of the original 55 acres of the Continental PUD. Unit 2 previously involved a second re-subdivisions of Lot 33 and 34, which were combined and renumbered as Lot 1. The Units 2 and 3 re-subdivision involves 8 lots numbering 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 35, and 36, being combined into Lot 5, renumbered as 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27,
Combined.
for the purpose of enlarging the total lot areas of each. Number 4, we have reviewed the primary plat and find it to be satisfactory. Public improvements are addressed in the second final plat review letter. Should you have any questions, please contact John. So if there's any questions, John is sitting right there. So any other questions, comments from the board? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve, deny, or defer preliminary replat.
Motion to approve preliminary replat of Continental Unit 2, lots 27 through 36.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
I got a second by Bob. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. I will ask for the boards to make a motion to hear request for final replat. Is there a motion to hear final plat?
Motion to approve.
Well, this
Oh,
is just,
sorry.
this is just to make the board
Oh, yeah.
hear it. I just want to make sure the board's okay with hearing the final replat. So,
We good?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay.
okay, you want to make that motion?
Yep. Motion to approve final replat.
No. To
consider.
consider. I'm sorry, thank you. To consider the final plat.
Let me start that over again.
Thank you, Bob.
For the third time.
Sorry, making it difficult.
For consideration of final replat of Continental Unit 2, lots 27 through 36.
So there's a motion for consideration of final plat. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to consider final plat approved, 6-0. Now, sorry, Bob.
Oh, you're good.
Now we have
Gotta get it right.
final plat review regarding Unit 2. Unless there's any other questions, I will review or read the final plat review from Robinson. And just for the general public, usually when it's residential and there's no changes to the infrastructure, roads, utilities, this is a common practice for us to do both preliminary and final at the same time. So it's just for residential when there's no changes to the infrastructure. Secondary, so Deer Plan Commission, Continental 2, -3, re-subdivision PUD, secondary plat review. As requested, Robinson has reviewed secondary final plat of the above referenced project and they have the following comments. Items received, the Continental Unit 2-3rd re-subdivision secondary final plat by DVG team. We offer the following comments. Unit 2 was part of the original 55 acres of the Continental PUD. Unit 2 previously involved a second re-subdivision of lots 33 and 34, which were combined and renumbered as Lot 1. 3, Unit 2, third re-subdivision involved 8 lots numbered 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 35, and 36, being combined into 5 lots renumbered as 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27 for the purpose of enlarging the total lot area of each. 4, we have reviewed the secondary final plat and find it to be satisfactory. 5, previously completed public improvements within the original Unit 2 include typical B boxes and service lines stubbed to each lot. As a future residential structure layout on the enlarged lot is unknown at this time, the individual B box and service line stubs to be used for the construction is also unknown. This recommendation stipulates that when a building permit is requested for a lot, only one B box and service line should remain per lot. Any unused B box and service line redundant are to be removed, then as would be typical for such removals. Should you have any questions, at your convenience, talk to John. That is a secondary review letter. Any comments, questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve, deny, defer, final plat.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat of lots 18 to 26 of Continental Unit 3.
Just want to clarify, final? I think you said preliminary, or did you say?
I said preliminary.
Well, we're doing final now.
Oh, this is the final on this? one? Okay.
Final.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the final plat.
Thank you, John. We
of-
got a, I'm sorry. We
Yeah.
got a motion for approval of final plat. Is there a second?
I second it.
Second by Joe. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of final plat for Unit 2 replat? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda for the public hearing, we have the Continental Unit 3. This is amendment to the preliminary plat of Lot 18 through 26 of Continental Unit 3, part of the original 55 acres of the Continental. Petitioner, Mr. Slager, is here. Jack, for the good of the general public, can you give an overview?
Yeah, good evening, Jack Slager with Schilling Development. So similarly to the last project that we discussed, this is, we're calling this Unit 3. This is an undeveloped cul-de-sac in the northern part of the site. All of the utilities and road are stubbed to the site. The preliminary plat for this cul-de-sac originally called for 9 lots, 9 half-acre lots or slightly larger. We have amended the primary plat to now show 5 lots, 5 one-acre lots. So we will be coming in later this fall for final plat, but if the Plan Commission is agreeable, we would like to plat 5 one-acre lots and begin the infrastructure this summer to put in the road and sewers and water lines for the 5 one-acre lots that was previously anticipated to be 9 half-acre lots.
Right. Questions or comments before I open up to the public hearing? And this time I will actually read the preliminary plat review letter prior to the public hearing. So, dear Plan Commission, as requested, Robinson Engineering has reviewed the preliminary plat for the above referenced project and have the following comment. Items received, Continental Primary Plat PUD by DVG Inc. dated 2/2023. We offer the following comments. Unit 3 is part of the original 55 acres of the Continental PUD. Unit 3 includes lots 9 and 1 outlot. The Unit 3 replats involves the 9 lot numbers 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26 being combined into 5 lots renumbered as 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 for the purpose of enlarging the total lot area of each. We have reviewed the preliminary plat and find it to be satisfactory. Should you have any questions, please contact me at your convenience. Yours truly, John Dykstra. No questions and comments. I will open it up to a public hearing.
I have a comment,
absolutely.
actually. The dead end, that cul-de-sac, if we could go back to that. Did you say there's no pipes in there yet? There's no.
Correct.
Okay.
Just stub to the end of that.
Is that gonna be a dead end?
It is?
Okay, I would prefer we do find an easement somehow to loop that. Whether it could tie in over on Knickerbocker or come back out to Continental Way somehow. Maybe a rear easement.
You're talking the water line?
Yeah. That's my concern, actually.
Okay.
There's a way we could look into that.
We can definitely look into that. Yeah, I'm not planning to start here until probably June, so we've got a little bit of time, but we could definitely look for an option.
Well, does that need to be addressed before we approve any replatting? Not just to make sure the easement, if it's an issue with the water line and, circulation or looping, do we need that included
If we need an easement.
if we need an easement?
That would come at the final plat stage. If we decide on where to go, if there's a place to go and we need to add an easement, we could definitely do it on the final plat stage. We really haven't changed any of the engineering that was approved 3 years ago, so.
Right.
We weren't planning to change the engineering, but if we want to look at options, we can.
So it was approved without the water main being looped?
Yep.
Okay, I always thought
Correct.
that was a standard to loop the water mains.
Yeah, we've got 4 cul-de-sacs, obviously, in the site. The longest one, Continental Way, that water main actually does loop back out to Knickerbocker. But the remaining 3 cul-de-sacs were all designed originally as dead-end water lines. Again, that was 3, maybe 4 years ago, so I don't know if your standards have changed any since then.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Can we move forward with a contingent that the approval be based on the easement?
Just do the preliminary plat now.
Well,
So we don't forget, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, well, Mr. Chairman, I mean, you indicated that if there's going to be a loop, and again, I don't know the specifics or the details of that, but that's not reflected in the plat that's being considered tonight. So I would only suggest that probably the surest way to assure that it gets completed would be to have that included in the plat that's going to be considered, as opposed to making anything contingent or.
Okay.
It certainly could be included in a secondary plat approval, but again, secondary plat is simply confirming what has been that the installation has occurred in accordance with the amended primary plat, which is being considered this evening.
Okay. Okay, but we will proceed with the public hearing because I just want to make sure if anyone's here, we proceed forward with the public hearing, and then after the public hearing, this board can make a decision on what they want to proceed with the primary. All right. With that, I'm going to open it up to public hearing. The public hearing is now open for the Continental Unit 3 amendment to primary plats of lots 18 to 26. The public hearing is now open. Sir?
I'm sorry, I got a question.
Sir, if unfortunately, it's a public hearing. What I'll need you to do is come to the podium, state your name and address, and then ask your question. I appreciate that, sir.
Hi, my name's Gary Anderson. I just want a question. You said you renamed two lots, 30-something and 33 and 31, as Lot 1. Is there two Lot 1s in there now?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm just going back to my notes.
It looks like Lot 1 of the original Continental is the one that goes out on 93rd. And then there's Lot 1 in the second re-subdivision that was a one-lot subdivision, which has a different name than Continental.
Okay, so the one Lot 1 is still going to be a lot there on 93rd?
Yeah, that
Yes.
hasn't changed.
Okay, that was just all I was...
Thank you, sir. Anyone else that would like to comment? Jenna, did we receive anything electronically?
We have not, no.
Last call for public comment. The public comment for Continental Unit 3 is now closed. All right, in front of you, you have a request to amend the preliminary plat for lots 18 and 26. You've heard Bob's comments. I mean, this is probably potentially be something we would look at, well, unless if they need to replat it. So, what's the pleasure of the board? There's three options: approve, deny, defer until. Now, Adam, if they make a changement to so we had a public hearing. If this board potentially seeks easement along lot 19, and that's added, no public hearing needs to be made for that one, if that easement is added.
No, I don't think it would.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, what is the pleasure of the board? I mean, Bob, I appreciate the comments. Pros and cons to loop it, it's a,
I just figured it was a pro because the water main's not installed yet. So, I mean, now's the time to get it on there and get it finished.
Okay.
I do see it's going to be a problem. There's going to be a lot of easement, and there's going to be a lot of water main in rear yards. But,
Keep in mind that area's all pretty heavily wooded too.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't know what the location is of potential water main tie-ins on 90th Avenue or ways to get up there. I suppose we would look at potentially tying those two cul-de-sacs together.
Is there a park?
Yeah, it's right there.
Are they?
I was just looking at that.
Where's it at?
It just touches lot 19.
Yeah.
Is it lot 14?
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah,
the 14,
You
yeah.
could go easement on 19 on the north side.
Yeah.
And then cut through the park. I'm sure we could get grant easement for that. Joe, would we be able to do something like that?
Yeah, it's owned by the town
For
of
the
St.
park,
John.
and then the water main is actually on the south side.
I don't know why not. I mean, it's
Or
town
north
property,
side.
so.
Yeah.
Would that, or could that, just asking, could that be with a smaller line? Or would that be a full,
It'd have to be a minimum of 8-inch.
that'd be a full 8-inch?
Yes.
I know we've talked, Doug and I have talked a little bit about this before. We haven't done it yet, but do you guys consider also like the auto flusher on a dead-end cul-de-sac?
We'll have to refer to the SCO on that that subdivision control ordinance. Those are supposed to be temporary.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I mean, you've already blessed us with two dead ends already, so I'm trying to eliminate another one.
But yeah, the Continental Way actually does tie back to Knickerbocker, so that one's going. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'll go ahead and offer up the easement along the north side of Lot 19, and then we'll just have to work out how to get it there through the park or
For
whatever.
distribution, that'd probably be the best route, too.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't we do this, based on Adam's comments, until that easement is on this plat, it'd probably be beneficial for us, Mr. Slager, to defer until we see that easement on that, lot number, 19. So, at the board's pleasure, if we want to defer until that comes back, understanding that since there was no public comment tonight, that this will be a quick addition to
I
the
assume the
town.
public hearing is closed.
Public hearing has been closed,
Okay.
yes.
That's fine.
I'll make a motion to defer.
I got a motion to defer. Is there a second?
Second.
We got a second by Joe. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Very good. All
Thank you.
right. Next on our agenda, we have a Sublime Estates, a request for release of performance surety for Sublime Estates, 6 single-family lots at the intersection of 93rd Avenue and Claremont Drive. It is currently zoned R1.
Good evening, Doug
How are
Reddick
you, sir?
with DVG. I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Yeah, Mike, I talked to Mike Granissi earlier. He was unable to make this meeting tonight, but it's just like the agenda says, we're asking for the release of the performance surety for Sublime Estates. We believe we've completed all the obligations to meet that request. There's obviously a letter from John from Robinson, which I'm sure you'll want to read in, but very straightforward. We're here to release that surety.
John, these letters are getting longer and longer.
I apologize for
You're
this
killing me,
one.
man. All
I
right.
wanted to make sure everything was.
I told him to soup it up,
Yeah, I appreciate
just
that.
to hear your
I took the
voice.
soup out, though.
All right, again, just for the board and the general public, this is a recommendation to release a surety bond for work, infrastructure work at the subdivision. It is a recommendation to the council, who makes the ultimate decision to release the developer from the surety bond. So this is a letter from Robinson Engineering. Dear Plan Commission, as requested, Robinson has evaluated the request to release the performance security of the subject development and provide the following. Items received: Sublime Estates as-built, 3 sheets for curb and utilities by DVG 3/2023. We provide the following. 1, all work for the above referenced project has been completed in accordance with the final engineering plans for the project. The developer, creditors, and consultant engineers have completed the request work to release the letter of credit. 2, town staff and Robinson have inspected the site on 3/27/23 and discovered 2 punch list items that were communicated to developer and subsequently corrected and re-inspected by the town staff. So we're all good there. 3, town staff and Robinson team find that, in our best judgment, the work is in substantial conformance with approved plans. Therefore, we recommend the acceptance of the construction improvements and release of the letter of credit, which is set to expire 6/9/2023. The original performance of revocable letter of credit amount is $38,005. $38,005. No reduction were requested during construction. 4, it was noted on the day of inspection that some sidewalks were not complete across the lots, but that is generally acceptable to the town, and as is the typical procedure, these will be completed when the lots are improved. As part of item 5 below, it is recommended that the cost of the incomplete sidewalks be included in the maintenance surety or further safeguard the town and residents' interest. 5, in accordance with Town Code Section 21A-98, a letter of credit, surety bond, or cash escrow agreement, naming the town as beneficiary to ensure maintenance of all said improvements shall further be posted by the developer's subdivider. The letter of credit, surety bond, or cash escrow agreement shall be in the amount of equal to 15% of the construction cost and shall run for a minimum of 2 years from the date of acceptance. However, the letter of credit, surety bond, or cash escrow agreement shall continue in full force until a certificate of release shall be issued by the town council. 6, additionally, soil erosion control is to be maintained by the subdivider or lot owner. 7, additionally, if future build-out of any lot involves fill in the adjacent zone AE floodplain, it will be the responsibility of the subdivider or lot owner to obtain a letter of map change from the FEMA. 8, any applicable requirements per the town code shall also be met. Should you have any questions, please contact John Dykstra. All right. Again, the recommendation to the town council to release surety bond. Any questions or comments for Mr. Reddick? Doug, do you know the status of the maintenance bond? From my understanding, it has not been submitted yet.
I talked to Mike. They've requested it from their insurance company. He thought they might have it by the end of the day today. They were going to send it to Jenna. She was copied.
Yeah.
I didn't see it by the end of the day. It's very, very close. I would think any day now.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, I will entertain a favorable, unfavorable, or no action recommendation to request the release of the performance surety bond of $38,005 to the town council.
Make a motion, favorable motion for release of letter of credit for Sublime Estates of the amount of $38,005.
I have a favorable recommendation to release surety bond of $38,005. Is there a second?
One second.
There's a second by John. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're all in agreement today. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Reddick.
Thank you.
Also, all right, next on the agenda is Artesian Well, Plat D, part of Lot 6. This is a proposed rezone. There is no action being taken tonight. This is discussion. And if the board deems to allow for a public hearing, which would be in May, potentially, if this board allows. So, Doug, I'll turn it back over to you.
Once again, Doug Reddick with DVG, representing Dale Lenting regarding this proposed rezone. We discussed it at the study session, and he wishes to rezone a portion of his property, shown there on the GIS exhibit, right at the corner of 231 and Schneider. He wants to rezone it to commercial for the purposes of building a pole barn, which is shown on that drawing as well. The rest of the land will stay residential. So we're just talking about one pole barn for his business. But of course, we need commercial zoning for that. And they're here tonight to request permission to advertise for the next month's meeting for a public hearing to discuss that further.
Questions, comments from the board?
Are they going to relocate that entrance off of 231?
Undecided yet, Bob. I did talk with my traffic engineer, who knows the NDOT system pretty well, because obviously it's the NDOT. And we haven't formally asked, but she thought that NDOT would probably deny another entrance onto 231 that close to a public street. She said we could try, and we're willing to do that, but we haven't formally approached them yet. She just thinks it would be problematic and probably not likely to get approved. But we won't know that until we try. So we're not opposed to asking for it, but we don't have a real good feeling that it's going to get passed. Especially since it's a public road, Schneider Street is. Of course, we're willing to widen the road like we talked about and build it to commercial standards. Dale has agreed to that.
And Doug, I know I wasn't here for the study session, but you're aware of if it's the pleasure of the town council, because this board only makes a recommendation, the improvements that will be needed for roadway.
Yeah, I discussed that with Dale. The road will have to be widened, the right-of-way will have to be dedicated and widened, and the road itself will have to be brought up to current standards.
And then any commercial, if hypothetically it's rezoned in any building, the buffer that would be required adjacent to residential of 10
Yep.
feet.
We have that.
Okay.
That's between the proposed building and the residential, yeah.
Yep.
He does intend to hope to build a new residential house at the very northwest, right next to his current house. He obviously lives next door, so he wants to build a new house there for himself. And then, I don't know, probably sell the other house, but that's his plan. And he understands there's some extra cost involved with the road work and everything. When the town did the work at the intersection, you can actually see in the bottom of the exhibit, they widened the right-of-way. The town owns that little triangle right there and the one across the street. And they actually dedicated additional 10 feet of right-of-way on both sides. It's a 40-foot right-of-way now for Schneider Street, so additional 10-foot was dedicated on both sides. We would do the same on our side. Of course, we can't dedicate right-of-way on the other side of the road. And then the question is, do we do road improvements only to the north edge of the commercial? Because that's all we're asking to be rezoned, just part of the property, which still goes most of the way up the street, obviously, up to there. So we have a little bit of discussion there, but Dale understands what needs to be done.
All right. So
I would like to see it go all the way to 108th Ave, not stop at the commercial. That would be my opinion.
if any road improvements need to be done.
They just don't stop there, they go all the way around the sub.
All right, so for tonight's meeting, for this board, it's a decision if there's enough information presented it to us,
Right.
if we want to allow for a public hearing. Again, no decisions being made tonight. This would then start the process of the rezone, potential rezone, and then the petitioner would have to notify all the neighbors. This will allow the neighbors to come to the next meeting, and we will have an open public forum for them to make any comments before a recommendation is made by us, which will then ultimately go to the town council. So it's,
I'd like to make a comment too, is Dale thinking of some type of buffer? If you do get access to 231, is he willing to put some kind of barrier along, what's this street?
Schneider.
You know, a fence or arborvitae's or something to block that from the residents? I know the residents have a lot of concern here.
They do. We're aware of that.
And, you know, and I don't blame them. You know, it was a residential street, and now you have commercial traffic coming in and out. They were there first.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to squeeze them out or force them out or any of that, but
He
if
was
there's
agreeable.
ways where we could do, you know, satisfy both parties, you know, we haven't even talked about building material, you know, a pole barn on 231.
No, it's in the overlay district. He understands he has to abide by that as well.
Yeah.
So that'll control that.
so one of my concerns.
That's another concern of mine is put up a pole barn along 231. I'm not for that.
So one of my concerns is, this is just zoning, right? We're
Right.
only speaking about zoning. There is nothing that says that we have changed zoning in other parts of this town and the development never happens. Now, I believe Mr. Lenting has come to this board in the past because I think he had some code violations for his vegetable cart. So potentially, this board could change the zoning. This never comes to fruition, and now he's allowed potentially to put maybe his vegetable cart back on. Just because it's rezoned doesn't mean he has to do any development to it, so that's just, you know,
Yeah. No, that's,
I mean, so that's just one of my concerns, because that zoning then will stay no matter who owns that property. That zoning will stay until it's either rezoned, so. But we, you know, if he meets all the eligibilities for a public hearing, and this board thinks there's enough information provided, we need to allow them to have a public hearing.
Yeah.
For the public to go through the process. And so,
And to answer your question, Bob, we did talk about some kind of screening, depending on how the entrances are configured, whether they're on the Schneider Street or on 231. There will be room to screen the building from the residents.
Yeah.
So he's agreeable to that, too.
Yeah. And I don't think it's ideal to have another entrance on 231, but it would help the residents out so they don't have that traffic
We
on
understand the
Snyder,
request, but again,
to have
it's,
another entrance, I don't think it's in the best interest of the town.
all right.
Are
what-
you, can I have a question real quick?
Absolutely. Joe.
Are you prepared to discuss what kind of commercial development they're considering?
he owns a tile business. He just wants to build a shop for himself and have a little storefront to sell tile out of. That's all it is.
For
It's his
like
personal
floor
business.
tiling?
Floor tile, yeah.
Okay.
And he's gonna sell.
I just wanted to get
Floor
clarification.
tile and granite, I think he told me, like granite countertops. So he'll have a shop to work in for his personal use and a storefront for sales. That's it. And very little traffic too, because of that.
Right. I'll bring it back to the board. Again, we could take no action, they can come back for study session if there's more information. Or do we want to proceed forward and all the information's buttoned up where we can have the public hearing for the rezone? Adam, do we need to make a motion for this to have the public hearing? Or is it just, we're announcing that there will be notification of a hearing? I can't remember the,
Well, it's not, so the rules and regulations don't really specify it so in the past, I think I've seen it done both ways, but,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, the plan commission can always make a motion to take any action, whether that be to, proceed with, allowing, the applicant to notice for a public hearing, but if it's acknowledged that, in some fashion by the plan commission, that's really the direction that the applicant is looking for.
okay. What's the pleasure of the board? We'll do a motion. Just to dot our i's and cross our t's. Is there any additional information? I mean, he'll have to come back through the study session
Yeah.
again.
I think we need to continue a study session on that.
But, I mean, tonight, we got to decide, are we ready for a public hearing, which will then happen on May 2nd, to allow him to proceed forward with the application, or not the application, but notification? It's one of these tricky ones. No one wants to make a motion. We don't have to make a motion. We can make him come back to study session and, but sooner or later, we're gonna have to have a hearing.
Right.
Yeah. I'd say we just.
Well, are they ready to have a hearing is my question.
Are you ready to have a hearing?
Yeah, we are. It's a simple, I mean, it's a yes or no for, as far as we're concerned. It's just the pleasure of the board. So what we needed time for is to do the advertising, like you said, and we need a few weeks to do that. So a meeting a month from now is on par for that.
If we have a study hearing, I think it'd be more beneficial to everyone, because once,
I'm sorry, Joe?
if we have a study
A study session?
session, it'd be more beneficial to everyone, including them, that, they'll show us other potential, whether the entrance comes from 231 or 41. We could start to talk about it, and they could come in and say, okay, look, this is our plan, and then when it comes down to, we agree to it, it'd be a lot easier if we have the public hearing, then you don't get peppered.
Well, they'll still have a study session between this meeting and the
Yeah.
public hearing.
That's what I'm saying, have a study
Oh,
session.
yeah.
We'll come to the study session anyway.
Yeah, they'll still come to the study session
Okay.
in April for the.
This-
I thought that's
the
what
May
you were asking
meetings,
for.
public
Oh,
hearing.
no, yeah.
Yeah,
It's either we allow them to have, allow them to proceed forward with notification of the public that there's gonna be a public hearing for this, for the rezone. If not, we either have them come, they'll still have to come back for the study session in 2 weeks.
Okay,
and then the public hearing would be the following month, or if we don't feel that we have enough information, I mean, but sooner or later, he's allowed to have a public hearing.
Oh,
I'll make a motion to grant permission to advertise for a public hearing for Artisan Wells Plat D.
Okay, I got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Got Jenna, second. Discussion? So the public hearing potentially be May 2nd as long as all the notifications meet deadlines and things like that. So just if anyone's listening, right now it would potentially be scheduled for May 2nd as long as they met all the requirements for notification.
You sure about May 2nd?
It's May 3rd.
I'm sorry, May 3rd. May 2nd is Tuesday. May 3rd. Thank you, Joe. May 3rd. Let me repeat that. May 3rd.
Thank you.
So as long as
I
all
wrote down the second
notifications
too.
are met properly, the potential hearing will be May 3rd. So.
And they'll be
again,
back here for a study session in 2 weeks.
And they'll be back here for a study session in 2
Jenna will
weeks.
make sure we're on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, so I got a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right,
Thank you.
we'll see you in a month.
Couple weeks.
Hopefully. Well, I'll see you in a couple weeks, absolutely. All right. Next on the agenda, same sort of scenario. We have Streamside. This is a proposed preliminary plat of Streamside, a 54 single-family residential lot subdivision, approximately, okay. Petitioner.
Good evening, Jeff Yatsko with Olthoff Homes. Tonight, we've recently made application for primary plat approval for Streamside. I know this has been before you before as we went through the zoning. And I do have just a couple things that we can recap tonight if you'd like to kind of go over some of the things that we committed to through the zoning process. So currently, we have all the engineering in, all the landscaping, the covenants, the primary plat, everything is actually in to your staff and being reviewed. But just as a kind of a recap of Streamside, again, this was 54 single-family lots. This sits just east of Summerlin Estates at the southwest corner of 109th and White Oak. And this was granted an RC2 PUD district. Just to kind of recap some of the site amenities that we had as a part of this, we've got a playground that sits inside the subdivision. We've got interior paved walking paths. We've got extensive landscaping on the open space areas, and again, those landscaping plans are in for review. We do have the exterior sidewalks along 109th and along White Oak. We've decided to use ornamental street lighting, so that'll be similar to what's already in Summerlin and Silverleaf across the street. And we've got extensive wetlands that we are preserving as a part of Streamside. So you can see there on the north side and on the southwest corner, there are wetlands that we do have some impacts, and that's into IDEM for approval, but we are preserving some of those wetlands as well. On the next slide, I'll just kind of touch on a couple of the zoning commitments that we made when this came through for the PUD. Again, we've got about 37% open space. Again, we've got park amenities, trails, landscaping. If you recall, we decided that a 2.5 car garage would be minimum for any of these houses. So again, that's in the PUD and the covenants. Front yard irrigation. We decided on a 30% minimum masonry on the front. All other exterior will be LP siding or hardy plank. We've got our anti-monotony policy that's built into the PUD. Again, the HOA is going to maintain all of the trails and open spaces in the parks. One of the things that we also committed to as a part of the PUD was any home that sat along 109th and along White Oak would have some kind of exterior bump out on the elevation. None of our lots actually touch 109th and White Oak, but what we decided to do was there's 14 lots that I've identified, and they're actually built into the covenants, that anything that you can actually see from 109th and White Oak, which are these 14 lots, will have an exterior bump out. So it'll be a sunroom, breakfast nook, something so you just don't have the flat wall across the back. Again, we talked about it'll be only aluminum open style picket fences. Only in-ground pools will be allowed. And then finally, we refined the HOA covenants. So when we first came through zoning, we provided some HOA covenants in a draft form. We've refined those just to simply take the items that were committed to as part of the PUD. And we also incorporated those into the covenants so that it's kind of like, in case someone misses it in the PUD, then they've got it in the covenants for the community as well. So I've submitted those, and those are also being reviewed at this time. So that kind of recaps everything. Again, it's kind of early, it's preliminary. We do have all the plans in. I know they're being reviewed. So we look forward to that first comment letter. But what we're here tonight to do is ask for permission to advertise for a May 2nd public hearing. May 3rd. I won't be here on the 2nd.
I've been screwing everybody up by May 2nd.
It is
so
May
it's,
3rd. I
it's
thought you
my
said May
fault.
2nd all
It's
night
my
tonight.
fault. It's May 3rd. So, okay. Questions or comments? Understanding his request is very similar to item D. I'll entertain a motion for him to proceed forward with public hearing for preliminary plat.
If I may, just a real quick
Oh,
question.
absolutely.
For engineering on this. I know that we've been discussing some improvements at 109th and White Oak. Are you going to be discussing that with the developer regarding those recommendations for engineering on that?
We had a meeting and we did discuss some
Okay.
things pertaining to that lot already. I think Jeff explained the status of it. They do own that corner lot, but correct me if I'm wrong, as yet you don't have future plans for that lot, correct?
Oh, the old homestead?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do own the old homestead. As part of the zoning, we agreed to provide right-of-way. And I've actually created the exhibit, and then I've had some discussion with Robinson about
Okay.
future plans for that.
Right.
Future roundabout, what the right-of-way widths would need to be. So we are working through that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a separate note because it's not part of the subdivision, but it is part of the zoning that was
Right.
approved.
We just want to make sure that we could kind of get that resolved at the ground level instead of getting into this thing and then 5 years down the road, now we're trying to, obtain right-of-way and stuff.
Right. No, we've already started that process. I've already provided, and I've had some discussions with their transportation engineer.
Okay, James, yeah,
James House.
yeah.
And then we also, as part of the zoning, we committed to doing sidewalks along that parcel as well. So that, I should let you know that is still part of this. Again, it's just not on these plans because it's not actually part of the subdivision, but we still fully intend, when we put the sidewalk along 109th and White Oak, it will go all the way to the corner. The only thing that we don't have rights to right now is that homestead that sits just to the south of the homestead that we own. So there is no right-of-way there that we'd be able to connect that sidewalk. So there would have to be, we do have a trail system that comes from 109th that connects to White Oak through Streamside, but we just currently don't have the right-of-way to be able to connect the trail across the parcel that we just don't own.
Yeah, Jeff, we did talk about that too, that lot was an exception. They don't have any rights there.
Okay.
So there would be a gap.
And Jeff, I appreciate you getting all the documents into engineering. Just, I'm very finicky when it comes to primary or preliminary plat, that we have a letter saying that everything's satisfactory. I know there might be some potential changes from engineering, but if I don't have a letter in front of me, I get very concerned about approving a primary plat without a letter saying it's satisfactory from engineering. So just make sure you coordinate that and we get that letter in time.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just making sure we're on the same page. Awesome.
Yeah, I think our plan is next week to get you comments, is my understanding. There's several pieces being reviewed by other people, so, yeah. We did get plat comments already, so.
Okay.
I just don't want any surprises if I don't have a letter and you're seeking approval for a primary plat and I don't have that letter. I'll suggest to the board to defer till we get that letter. So I just want to make sure you're understanding.
Okay.
So the homestead lot, would we want to get the additional right-of-way now
I think we want to make sure that that's considered
for White Oak and?
for White Oak and 109th, yeah. And we've had,
Be part of this process?
yeah,
of
we've had
this-
discussions with the other side of that property as well, so.
Repeat that, Bob, I'm sorry.
For St. John to get the additional right-of-way that St. John needs for White Oak and 109th
And
during this process. get it for that homestead lot.
Right, for the homes that we own.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So we've already actually created that document. Like I said, we've had some discussions.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Just
you're
wanna
in the
make sure that
works
they're
of doing
comfortable
that.
with the right of ways, and then they asked for an extra triangle for the roundabout. So no, we're
Okay.
actually working through that
Okay.
as well.
Okay, he's on it.
Yep.
You can kick him in
Mr.
the
Huss
office.
is the roundabout expert.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, what is the pleasure of the board? This would be to make a motion to allow notification for a public hearing for Streamside. Unless there's any other questions. I don't mean to interrupt.
Make a motion to give permission to advertise for proposed preliminary plat of Streamside.
I got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. Discussion, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, if all the notifications are in a timely manner, we'll see you, a study
3rd.
session, and then May 3rd. Awesome, awesome. All right, next on the agenda, we have a request for PUD amendment, amending rear yard setback from the current 40 feet to 30, zone R3 PUD multifamily. So, discussion set for public hearing, to allow town manager to approve change. So this would be a motion from this board to allow the town manager, if you determine this to be a minor change, or potentially if we don't consider that, it would probably have to go to a public hearing for amendment to the PUD. So with that, Mr. Slager.
Good evening, Jack Slager with Schilling Development, representing the developers of the Greystone subdivision. So this section of Greystone was one of the last that we had approved. This is Unit 3, which is on the west side of Calumet Avenue and south of the traffic light there at Greystone Drive. This is the section that is currently seeing the most activity. We have two builders in there, Schilling Construction and McFarland Homes, and they are building primarily ranch homes. You may recall, as a little bit of history of this parcel, we originally were able to get it zoned R3. It was zoned R3, and then through the process of multiple meetings with the Plan Commission, we ended up developing it as a single-family development. So it has the underlying zoning of R3, but it came in as a planned unit development because the Plan Commission requested single-family homes there. The lots are 80 by 140, which is typical of the other side of Greystone. So the issue that we've run into is the builders are building primarily ranches, which are a little larger footprint. One of their most popular models, and actually the sales model that they have on site, is a popular ranch model, and the footprint of that ranch is, I believe, 70 feet deep from front to back. So on these particular lots, there you go, great example. So on these particular lots that are 140 feet deep, they have a 25-foot front yard setback and a 40-foot rear yard setback. Now, the 40-foot rear yard setback was something that our engineer put on the plat during recording. It's something that the town has on a lot of their single-family developments, but the confusing part is that in the R3 zoning district, the rear yard setback, your town's rear yard setback is 25 feet in an R3 zone. So how we got to the point of having 40-foot, I'm not exactly sure, but the requirement in the platted area is 40-foot rear yard setback. What they're finding is this popular model that they have that's 70-foot deep. Many customers are asking for a rear yard, a rear sunroom or a rear covered porch. That's a very popular option. Probably adds up to $25,000 to the price of the home, but it also adds 12 feet. So now we go from a 70-foot deep house to 82 feet deep. As of right now, the majority of the lots out there, the rectangle lots, this one's a little unusual because it's pie-shaped, but the rectangle lots out there that are 80 by 140 have a buildable depth of 75 feet. So now the builders have come to us and said, man, we could sell more houses. We have customers that are asking for these sunrooms and rear covered patios, and we cannot fit them on the lots. Some of the lots they can, such as this one, which is a little deeper. So they asked us to come in and request an amendment from our PUD, since it was a PUD in an R3 zone, from a 40-foot setback to a 30-foot rear yard setback. The question for you tonight is, do we want to consider that a minor adjustment and allow the town manager to make that adjustment? That's up to the plan commission. If it's considered a major modification, then it has to go through the public hearing process. I'm not sure that we would want to do that, but we were hoping that this would be considered a minor. I will note that the entire Greystone area that lies north of this, which was Greystone Unit 2, which consists of primarily cottage homes and duplexes, does have a 25-foot rear yard setback. So all those units lying north of the pipeline and north of this area do have a 25-foot rear yard setback. So we're asking to go from a 40-foot rear yard setback to a 30-foot rear yard setback. Again, not every unit will be built with a rear sunroom or a rear covered patio, but at least it gives those builders the option to offer that amenity. Ultimately, it increases the value of the homes, it increases the price level of the homes. They'd like to have that option offered on any lot out there, and if we can get some concession from the town to allow from a 40-foot rear yard setback to a 30-foot rear yard setback, that would allow us to do that.
The units, Jack, you said north of this subdivision, does any of those buildings go to the 25-foot rear yard setback? Do you know?
That's a good question. John might remember. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of them, if they did with the duplexes and the cottages, if they did have the sunroom and the covered patio, it got
right there.
It got
to be like 20, 29, 28, 27.
Okay.
Yeah. And even if we go from 40 to 30, and they do the full building with the front porch, we're still at 33 or something like that. And again, it's not going to be every unit, but at least they want to have the option to do it. They recently lost a customer that just wanted this specific lot and wanted the sunroom, and it didn't fit, and so they were like, man, we really got to do something about this. So
I think it would open more possibilities. If somebody likes that model and they like that lot, but
Yep.
that doesn't fit on that lot, then
that's what's happening.
it kind of gives them more freedom to move around the subdivision and pick a lot they want that faces whatever they want to face. Or
Jenna, can you put the other map up there that shows all the numbered lots? Jack, could you just walk me through which lots? It's the ones in the dark shaded area, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So lot 250, that row, 251, that row, and then 297 all the way down.
These are all built on already, so it's not really worth trying to amend that. This is the latest phase right here.
So,
This is where they're building now, so
so,
really just involve that phase.
so lots 309, 308, 307, 306, is anyone on there now?
Yeah, there's one house in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's occupied yet, though. I think
306
it's
or 307, 308, so there's
They're-
one.
all four of those are occupied?
No, just one is under construction.
No, I think
One-
308 or 309 is a spec that they're building.
That sounds right.
now.
And 307's vacant and 306 vacant?
Yep.
I see where you're going.
Jack, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. You have potentially 297 and all those lots except for 312, 313, 314, 315. You have potential neighbors that have bought that lot with the understanding it's a 40-yard rear setback. So I feel that it would be appropriate to give those homeowners that have bought a lot that now back up to a potential lot they thought would be 40-yard rear setback, now will be 30.
Are you talking here?
Just those, because potentially you have somebody moved in there and they expect their neighbor to this,
No, none of these are sold yet. None of these, 306 through 309, none of them are sold yet.
I thought a house was going up. Oh, it's spec.
There's a
Spec, yeah.
One spec house, but it's not
Maybe
sold.
even these two also,
But see, they're to the side.
I know, but then they're looking out at it. They're-
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you wanted to X off a number of areas and say, we're not comfortable with those areas,
You know,
I could tell you.
I do.
I think the only area that'd be a tricky is I think 272 is occupied, so then 282 might be off the table. Because you would have somebody that, like you're saying, John, they bought the house with the expectation that everything behind them is like and kind, and then 282 wouldn't be if we did this.
I'm just,
I'm willing to exclude whatever lots you feel are inappropriate. Really, the primary area is right here, which is where we're not going to
yeah, I hope you understand my theory. I'm just, I feel it's minor unless for anyone that's adjacent to a lot that we're considering changing, like you said, 272, I didn't even catch that one, that they went in there thinking that maybe they don't even know it, but.
Probably not.
I understand that. I'm probably getting into the weeds, but,
No, that's good points that you guys made.
I mean, I know you're saying 297, I wouldn't have a problem because it's to the rear, or they're to
Yeah.
the side, it's not their backyard. But, I mean, like 250, guys, this is my opinion. So lots 250 to 242, there's no one, right? It's under, that's, I would say is a
That's out
minor
of
change.
town even. on that-
251 to 259, not,
Good.
now 290, I'm not saying 297, because I'm like 296 all the way down to 282? Oh, not to
No,
282. to
283.
283.
Okay,
So we take out 282.
Yeah.
You guys tell me about 297, and I don't have a problem with,
Well, I mean, you got the outlot behind 297, 296, 295, so I mean, you do have
That's the pipeline, yeah.
quite a distance to the back.
Bob was saying, Bob's only comment was it's an adjacent neighbor, so he's going to see,
Yeah,
A bump out that he shouldn't have seen.
Possibly, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
so I would say if he's fine with taking, okay, let's just throw out some numbers. Definitely 282, 315, 314, 313, 312. Do we want
311.
311, 310, that center section, and 297? That's just the numbers. You guys tell me you're crazy, Kennedy. I've been called that before, so, I mean, and Jack, we're asking you to be okay
Yeah,
with something
no, I'm
like
good with
this.
that. I think that's the best we can hope for. I mean, that opens up 20 more lots for them to offer customers that have the oversized unit, and they have another 10 lots that are what they are now.
And just so everyone knows, staff thought this was relatively a minor issue, that it wasn't a major issue, but just out of an abundance of transparency, we wanted to make sure that, you know, this is before the plan commission. So that's why
Oh, I appreciate
it's
no.
here.
No, I
And our
mean,
zoning R3 is, what's the rear yard setback?
25.
25, okay, and we'll be at
Yep.
30,
We'll still
right?
be at-
And
Will still be
everything
five
from
more,
north is
yeah.
25 already.
Okay.
So besides, I mean, 282 is the only one that's an occupancy, so I can understand no one's living in 309, 308, 307, 30, it's spec, I don't know.
Right, so
You guys-
it meets the R3, but the PUD is where it kind of got awry.
So between, I mean, you guys tell me. Well, 282 is off, right?
Yeah.
282 is off. What about 297? Top,
I took that one off to us also.
you sure? I mean, you guys take that off?
Yeah, I would,
Okay,
What
297.
I mean, I think if they disclose to whoever buys the spec on 308 or 309 or whichever lot that is,
If they wanted to, they can.
I mean, they could, if they disclose that, I mean,
That's what I was wondering.
the middle section, I think, would be
Right.
fair to give them the 30 on.
Yeah, as long as they disclose it to the owner, the buyer of that property, yeah, that they could extend it beyond to that. If
Makes
they
sense.
wanted to add a room. I don't have an opinion, so. It's all up to you guys.
Jack, you made a comment, I don't want me to hold you to it, but you would be okay with 297 gone, 282 gone, and that middle island,
Yes.
potentially? Okay,
Yeah,
all
I'm fine with that.
right.
And we'll,
Would you guys, it's a board decision?
that's what I
Oh,
like to see, but I'm only one vote.
I'm fine with that.
It's not that.
Yeah.
All right. So potentially, the motion is that we're gonna allow town manager to make a amendment to the PUD for lots 242 through 259. And someone double check me, 242 to 259.
Yep.
And then lots
283.
283 through to 296.
Yep.
That's easy.
And Jack, you're good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That-
So the motion is
helps us out a
to
lot.
say the minor, it is a minor change for those lots, and to allow the town manager to approve. Everyone good? I mean, we threw out a lot of numbers. Jenna, good? Everyone good? Good? Jack's good?
Adam, are you good with that? No.
Adam, I'm sorry, Adam, I didn't ask. You're good with that?
I am,
Petitioner's good, we're good. Sounds like a good compromise. Until he comes back and says, man, everyone wants it in 315. Then he's gonna come back and we'll be like, all right, Jack, we'll see what we can do. Just don't sell any of those lots. That's my only concern. If someone was in
Get it.
there.
315 might even be big enough.
fair.
That it'll fit with the
Without
40
that.
foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll make
Okay.
them work.
So, can we get a motion to allow a minor change to lots 242 through 259 and 283 to 296? That's for the town manager to do. I need a motion.
Make a motion for the town manager to make a minor change for Greystone Unit 3 rear yard setback for lots 242 to 259 and lots 283 to 296.
I got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second by Bob. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Jack.
I don't know if there's any documentation that we'll have to produce.
Would it be based on the letters for when they apply for the permit? Just give them a letter?
I will defer to Adam on
I
how
guess as
that.
long as you guys are aware of it when they come for permits.
Right.
We'll make
And
the
then
engineers
then-
aware so they know they have the ability to.
I would like to have some kind of letter memorializing it, just to,
Yeah.
so that way there's no issue in the future on that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll
And then you
figure that
should
out.
probably sign off on
I was
something.
gonna say, there
On the
should be
lot-
some
on the lot
reference
plan
on
or
the
something,
plat
that would-
Of this, I mean, I don't know if it's reflected on, I don't know where it's reflected.
It's on the final plat now, so we'll make some kind of documentation and have the town sign off on it, and then it'll.
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
Yeah, that's all.
right, okay.
Certificate of amendment,
Yeah,
right. And
I
I
like
think the PUD development plan, which reflects currently the 40, should probably be amended, or at
Okay.
least that it's reflected in that document as well.
Okay. We'll
Do
work
do
on
a
that
separate
paperwork.
amendment page and then add that to that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Addendum.
Yeah, addendum.
Awesome. All right. Let's see. Next item, public comment. Is there anyone here for public
The
comment?
next thing.
Seeing no one for public comment, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by John, second.
Second.
Second by Bob. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Motion adjourned.